So hello and welcome to round 772. We'll just get into it. What is with my music? Doesn't matter. Come on. Didn't feel good. Not much. 841. Okay. 841. 41. Okay, all the numbers are red. Oh well. So we'll continue in the Angular shit. That is this here. Still controls. Okay, so we have the template reference variable. The user types an intent time, the value property of the new item variable stores what the user types into the input. Second line is the bottom. Click even binding, sure. Okay, sure. Configuring the parent. So here we created the method. And a method for adding more items to the array. The form of a string, and then adds the string to items array. And the template, here's the magic. This is the magic thing, which I don't know how this makes sense, but somehow it works. I get this, right? This is the name of the thing in the child, right? The round means that we are taking the value from it. And then we have this. Present child to the method parent. Yeah, contains the data that user types into the input in the child's UI. See the output working, you can add the following to the parent's template, which is there. In G4, it's clear. Input and output together. Same child component. Sure. I take red, delete request. Okay, how does it look like? That is the input output. That's this guy over here. So we'll have a look inside of it. Input, output, and delete. How does it look here? What is this? This is like they are using like console warm. I see. This is what they are doing. Oh, the info doesn't have the... Okay, I see. Also, when I had the... info, I didn't like it. Calls to console. Okay. That's just linting rules. I click this, but how it does get strike through? So here in the template we have what? Okay, so we have it in here. Style, text, decoration, line through. How this works? This line through. Oh, okay. Okay, so we are setting the style in there. Yeah, and this is the toggle. This is the toggle. If this is true T, it contains any text, we will set it to no text. Otherwise, we'll set this. Okay, and the binding to the is style, text decoration. Interesting. Goes to the line through. How does that looks like inspected? Like this. I did not know you can do that. So you say style dot text decoration and depth. Wow. Okay. Now, how this does anything to the parent, huh? So we have the event emitter on the delete, and we emit that, and in the parent, this is the usage, right? The component, hold on, add this cross off item. The cross off. Okay, so it just outputs the thing in the console. Lame. Okay. Child component class receives its value from the parent's property. Yes. When you click delete, the child component raises an event. Delete request, which, yep. Choose the different parts of the input and output of the. This is nicely drawn. This is the child selector, sure, blah blah blah. Yeah. Combine property when binding using the banana in a box syntax. Banana in a box. That's a good way to remember how these goes as well. It is banana in a box. It's not box in a banana. Okay, so we need that content projection is the next stuff we should be doing. Use content projection to create flexible reusable components. Download example, sure. Yep. It's done. Now we will use those content projection, right? Here I will create a new listing. Content projection here. Good. Using this anymore. Not this. I'm hungry every day. Because yeah, I should improve my food habits, definitely. These components create flexible, reusable components. Okay, but we will. Oh, was it all in the component HTML? We have still app in the metadata. More examples in here. Isn't that the same thing? This was that. Input and output in the component class metadata. Like, why is it not in the tutorial? Is it here? No. They have more shit in here, and they call this in the metadata component. Ah, look at that! It's like input outputs. You can. What's the problem? Yeah, and they say we should use rather that. Okay, but this is another way how to do inputs and outputs, and it will be the same. otherwise. Sure. Let's just buy it. Okay. So what else? So that is the metadata. Aliasing inputs and outputs. Yeah, this will be you just, yeah. This is an alias. So wish item, input, and output, that, and I think that is here. We have save for later item and wishlist item. Like when it's like too long. So we will do this. This is the event binding. And we have the wishlist item and save for later item. But inside of the component, it's called input or output event. And this is the input or output event without it. Says here, emitting output, television. Okay, so one of the aliases, right? Oh, here's are the aliases. You can do it this way as well. Just kind of like confusing, because this I would think like maybe it is a type, but it is not. It is alias. Okay, and I suppose it is preferable to use the input outputs, yeah, annotation. What do you have next? Do you have something else? That was the aliasing, alright, that's it. And this was in the metadata example, okay. Got it. And now we have the content projection. I did download the stuff, right? What is content projection? This window is, please. So first things first. Install. And while this is cooking, this. Which you insert or project the content you want to use inside another component. For example, you could have a card component that access content by another component. I feel that we did read this already. Single slot projection, multi-slot projection, conditional. Edgy content, yeah. You basically you put inside of the children component somewhere in the template you will put the ng content, and then in the parent you put it like the HTML, which is inside of the body of the host element, and that will be the content projection. Yeah. So this is one. Then we have the multi-slot, and here I can no, you cannot, because the input, the add input, binds a property, binds a value, a string, an object, or something, and you get it from the parent to the child, and it's one of the fields in there, right? Yes, but the content projection, you don't pass down a value of some variable. You pass down HTML, the entire HTML. It might be the entire component. Here it is just this thing over here, but it's just saying take whatever HTML you will get in here. You know, it doesn't matter if you write it manually or if it is generated by another component or whatever. Don't care. Just take this and fucking put it in here. I want it in here. That's that is the difference. And welcome to the channel. Yeah, that's how it works. This is basically, we did explain this guy, and I want to have a look at package JSON, how they are starting it. They are using ngserve, so I will do the same basically, but I want it to open ngserve -- open for when the application is ready. It will open the browser. And meanwhile, while it's starting, we can read more. Multi-slot. Multi-slot means basically you will have multiple places where to put it, and you create the shit, you know, and then you see like you have one thing and the second thing. How do you know which one is which? Like in the parent, you have one paragraph and the second paragraph. So which the fuck is it, right? You can use these selectors. You can put like the dummy attribute in here. This is a question, and then in the children template, you will say, oh, that one which has a question as an attribute, you will put in here. So if we go, okay, so it works, right? Yeah. So this is the multi-slot content projection. And if we have a look into the structure, so this is the multi-slot, but we will have a look in the main component, right? And this is it. This is the place which is of our interest. Notice that the question is first and this one is second. So if we go to Zippy, we can see that the default is like the first one, and then we reverse the order of those, right? Yeah, that's that. There's not more things to it. Yeah, and this is how it looks like. The question is second. Yeah, with and without, without goes ng content element, without the select attribute, that instance receives all projected components that do not match any of the other ng content elements. So that means if we go back in here, you can see that we have the this guy and this guy, right? So you might think that it is per tag inside of in this place. Oh fuck! Undo. This space. It is per tag. It will be. Hey, thank you for the follow, Last Billy. You might think that this would be like in this level, like each of these elements have to have its own. Oh, whoa. Happy to do so. You will think that you need the ng content for each of those, right? But that is not correct. I can prove it to you, and that is if I do the grep, and we will have a look into that. You can see in here it is projected in a place of the ng content. It kind of swallows everything that doesn't have a selector. I mean the ng content, if you don't specify the selector, it takes everything which doesn't have the selector. If we misspell this, let's say, yeah, we have 1, 2, 3. I don't know, but I suppose like everything will be put in here because it is not matching the other ones. So let's see. Other explanation would be that it will display the previous two, right? The another paragraph, and let's learn about the content. Okay, so to differentiate between one more, you need at least one selector. Yes. And now we have this experiment, right? And I don't know if everything will be displayed here in the ng content, which would be before the question. Or not. I think that will be the behavior. The other behavior could be that the ng content takes only things without selector. So let's see how smart it is. And yeah, it takes everything that doesn't matches the other one. So that's kind of smart thing. There's like it behaves smartly, right? If we revert this, the question suddenly wasn't in the middle, you know, it goes in the right place. Okay, so that is multi-slot content projection. And yeah, we can go on the next one. And that is a conditional content projection. So there's another thing. There was like another tag, ng container, and okay, let's see. I forgot this one. Components in the content or in the multiple paths. You should configure that components to accept an ng template. So ng template is not ng content, right? The ng content was what we were using in here, right? But if we want to render it multiple times, the single thing multiple time, or to have some condition, the ng template is the way to go. And this, the ng content, we can use like the if statement maybe to like display it, but the always initialized means that it will be always initialized, right? So that means if we will have a in here, you know, and the content will be another component, right? And there could be like entire logic behind it, entire like everything, right? So it would not matter if we want to display it or not. Every single time the Angular will go into that component, do all of the initial logic, like all the construction and so on, when we would use the ng content. If we would use ng template, the ng template is a little bit smarter, you know, and if it is the case that we are not displaying this at the moment, it will not go through all the construction of the component and so on. The ng template is kind of smart in that. The ng content will like create everything and then just not display it, right? So it is a waste of the CPU time and the time on the client side. Even if the component does not define an ng content element. Oh, you see, even if it's not in there. What? Not define an ng content element, or if that ng content element is inside of ng's if statement. And this would be an example that it could or could not be displayed, but it will still do all the work. Ng template element, you can have your component explicitly rendered context based on blah blah blah. Okay, so this is the thing which we were doing next. Here we go. This is what we will do next, because this guy over here, this timer, tells us that we are done with this round, and done is better than perfect. So let's stop that.